Warning. We are not journalists. We are not players. We aren't even in a union. We simply love the Premier League and happen to live in America. We are not experts. We will say dumb shit. Thank you and welcome to Premerica.
It's a American day, yay, yay, yay. Premier League in the United States, it's a American day.
Hello and welcome back to Premerica. I'm your host, Mike Weinberg, joined by my dear friends Sam Thomas and Michael Liberman. Premerica is your virtual pub for all things Premier League right here in America. We talk a little shop, we talk a little shit, and we keep you up to date on the things happening in the best league in the world. So grab your friends. Let's talk Prem. Boys, the season is over. Thank fucking God, at least for some of us. It has been a roller coaster for many reasons, but we must start. We must start with our dear friend Michael, who has been waiting a very long time to raise silverware, and he has risen that silverware, and he has risen it high. Michael, how do you feel? How are we? How are we doing?
It's 22 years. It's been a long time. It's one of those things where this is actually the first time one of my major sports teams, like one of the ones I really truly care about, has won the league in any sport that I follow. So was a very, very cool to witness and to see. Felt like the entire Arsenal fandom was waiting in line at Walgreens Pharmacy because they got Claritin because the trophy allergy or the trophy allergy has been cleared up clearly. And the whole Arsenal fandom.
I hope that wasn't I hope that wasn't
no,
pre-canned.
it was not pre-planned.
A week ago, Michael is,
No, but I mean,
yes.
it feels good. It
Yes.
feels like the monkey, it feels like a monkey's been lifted off our backs. It feels like I could see like the relief in the players, even in the Champions League final, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But I mean, it's awesome. It's freaking awesome, and I have nothing but optimism for Arsenal moving forward. So I'm thrilled.
Did it live up to expectations? Was it what you had expected, or like, did you feel like? Is it what you thought you would feel like? Did you know what you thought you'd feel like?
It felt freaking great, especially after just the vitriol we got all year long from every other fan base, left and right, about we're
fair.
bottlers and we suck and we choke and we did it, all this shit. To finally get it over the line felt pretty damn gratifying and pretty damn good.
That was just to like try and derail you so you would actually lose. That was
right.
Yeah.
And it came
Anything
from a place of fear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
of course.
that is totally fine by me. So, it feels great. I was talking to Sam, like pretty much I think the day after or the day of or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, it's awesome, and you're watching all the content, but then life just goes on, and it just kind of keeps going. And
That's right.
now
Life's a journey.
Now I'm looking forward to next season. So that's the way it rolls,
That is the way it rolls. Well, today we want to talk about, I think the first thing we're going to start with is the title race. So just to recap where we were, it was neck and neck up until a couple of games before. City dropped points and Arsenal just did what they needed to do. And that's basically where it ended up. I think we selfishly, there was a lot of hope, not even just for just Arsenal to lose, but just the idea of a City Arsenal on the final day, because I was at the pub. And to also have that going at the same time would have been the craziest, most electric, energetic finish. That kind of got a little was a little limp on the way there because City couldn't actually carry their weight. I know, which was Michael would have been literally profusely sweating, drenched in sweat. So for you it was good,
state.
but so that was a little less than
Well, I think
season.
that's the blessing and the curse of the Premier League season format is that since there is no playoffs, since there is no anything, you don't really know when the season's going to end, and sometimes it can be a little bit anticlimactic versus like the guarantee of a final.
True.
I think what's also interesting is like you're talking about between City and Arsenal. The other thing that's super interesting about this sport is that City beat Arsenal and beat them multiple times during the year, and it ends up not mattering because at the end of the day, it's about the consistency over the 38. But it was pretty crazy. I mean, like, I think most people thought when City beat Arsenal that 2-1 at City and whatever was that, like late mid-April-ish. I think the only people that predicted it accurately were the computer models, which still had, I think, after that match, Arsenal has a 74% chance to win. But if you would have asked virtually anyone else, they would have said, okay, City's going to take it, because at the time it was tied. And then it just shows you the game-to-game nature of the Prem, because Arsenal then went on to win their next 5 Premier League matches, which is what you needed to do. And City ended up dropping points in 2. And it's just it's just such an interesting thing. And I think it's what admittedly leads to a lot of the roller coaster as a fan, is that it's so game to game, because I know, yes, there were certain things said after that City Arsenal match.
Oh, I was devastated.
And at the end of the day,
it's over. It's
over.
over.
It's over. It's over.
It's
It's
over.
over.
But
Not
I think
just-
Declan Rice said it best. It's not over, and then
Yeah.
it ended up being over.
my
when he
fandom
said
is
so.
done.
Yes, but so I think that's part of the roller coaster. So at the end of the day, did we get the last day title race? No. Did we get an overall good title race? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, agreed.
It was down until into week 37, which is pretty damn good for the Prem.
Can I pose one question to you two? Now that the season is wrapped and we've picked through the bones, would you say the best team won the Premier League this year for this season?
Is that necessary?
People were saying City was going to roll us. People were saying this and that. If it's not that, I'm genuinely curious.
Look, I think objectively, the team that won the Premier League is the best team in the Premier League. And I think that, yes, if you look at it, Arsenal's been the most consistent. They were the most consistent throughout the year. I don't think anyone would argue that. Now, was it hard to watch at times? Yeah. Was
For
I?
sure. I get
Did
it.
I?
Yeah.
I haven't met Michael. I've never told you this, but Sam knows because I text him every time. It's not on purpose, but I fall asleep in every single Arsenal game. Like I actually do, and it's probably just the irony of timing, but I do. I fall asleep in a lot of Arsenal games.
That bothers
like
me
7 in a
zero.
row.
That's okay.
But you know what? That's your point, right? That is the point of what you like. You are just gonna let the other team's not gonna move, and they played that role extraordinarily well, and it won them the league. And so who fucking cares after that? Like, that's what you're in it for, right? Like, it doesn't matter, win or lose, you win. So yes, I think they're the best team of this year. I don't think you can argue anything differently.
Yeah, I mean but I've said this multiple times. So this is Michael fishing for an answer that he knows he's going to get.
Of course he is. He already knows. Right? He
Which
just wants validation. But you know what?
He just wants validation. But that's a classic Arsenal fan. He's a little validation even after they win the league. So what I will say is, yes, what I've said many times before is that the thing about the Premier League is whoever's winning at the end of the season is the best team, because it is about the consistency over the 38. And what gets lost in this is that, like, City looked like shit for like decent chunks of the season.
Yeah, they did.
And
everyone did.
Arsenal never really looked like shit, except they had a little bit of a drop off with like matches 8 to go versus 5 to go,
and then
in that EFL Cup.
Yeah.
But even that, they like lost like 2 league matches, and just like then one happened to be the City.
And one was City.
They were by far the most consistent. You separate out play styles separately, which we'll get into a little bit more when we talk Champions League. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, they were the best team. They won the league, and credit to them. And that is, I think, ultimately my favorite thing about the Premier League is that no matter what happens throughout the season, whoever wins the league is the unquestioned. Schedule is the same. Everybody plays the same teams. Everyone goes through the same grinder. Whoever ends up at the end is the unquestioned best team in the league.
Yes, and I will say to that, the other team that they lost to was Bournemouth, who ended up just being a juggernaut of the season. So, like, I don't really think that you're talking about the teams. Again, the teams they lost to are not teams that are. I mean, I think Bournemouth
100%.
played as good as anyone in the back half of the year. Michael, I want to move on, but do you have one last thing you want to say?
No.
Okay. So let's take Bournemouth. Let's move on to the next phase of this. So we were talking a lot about the Champions League and those spots, which was, is there going to be 5? Is there going to be 6? Now, of course, Liverpool couldn't keep it going to put Villa into 5th, and so Villa ended up in 4th, which basically made the 6th place irrelevant. But we did have a bit of a jockeying there at the end, the very end. But Bournemouth looked fucking sick. They pulled up into 6th place for their Europa, and where we thought it would end up. United pulled up and was clearly in 3rd. Villa held on their squeaky wheel. They fucking got a wrench and tightened that thing, and they made it all the way. And Liverpool got over the line as well. And then it was a absolute clusterfuck for the final Europe places. And my dear Chelsea boys, who had to win or draw against Sunderland, lost, ended up in 10th, and is no longer in Europe. But I think we have a record 9 teams in Europe because Palace won the Conference League and is in Europa. Bournemouth is in Europa. There's a 3rd team that's in Europa that I'm blanking on. Not Fulham. Who is it? Who's the 3rd team? Brighton?
No, Sunderland's in
Yeah,
Europe.
Sunderland.
Brighton Hove
Sunderland's
Albion's in the Conference League.
Conference League. So that's where we ended up. Thoughts on where that all shook out? Any mention, anything that comes to mind?
This ended up just kind of actually being like a total flop in the last 2-3 weeks. Like this ended up having a ton of promise about 5-6 weeks left, and then it totally flopped. And I think the floppiness is that everything kind of happened in the way that we didn't want it to. Like United stayed consistent enough to just separate up into 3rd. Liverpool, actually we did want this because for reasons we'll talk about in the go forward looking, Liverpool completely limped to the finish line and ended up 5 points behind Villa. So there was really no threat of them finishing in 4th and pushing Villa to 5th. And because of the goal differential, there was never really a threat of Liverpool not making the Champions League. So you pretty much ended up having the 5 Champions League slots solidified with a couple matches to go. With, by the way, 2 of the 4 or 5 of them really not playing well. The Europa League stuff was interesting, but let's be honest.
Only interesting if you're in it and no one cares in the first place.
And the Conference League is barely worth mentioning, although Brighton will certainly take the extra millions that comes from that, and they'll probably sign 3 amazing youth academy players and grow them
from Central America that you never heard of. They'll sell for $100 million in 2 years.
I will say, sorry, I said.
No, I mean, you're not going to want to hear what I'm going to say, so you go first.
Okay, I think that the cool
the storyline
sounds good.
Yeah. I think the one cool takeaway from all of that is that Sunderland, who was a newly promoted team.
Agreed.
I mean,
that's worth flagging. Yes.
Bournemouth looked honestly like one of the best teams in the league. They I think some teams that have struggled to ever get into those places have all now made it there. And even, so I think it's actually a cool storyline to see how that affects with the extra money, which we have seen absolutely the extra games have definitely wear these teams down, especially when you're playing in the Prem. So to see how they all, can they hang on next year? Do they fall apart next year because they can't handle it? I think there's a lot of interesting different storylines that will come out of who made it into those spots as at least something from a Prem fan that's interesting. And okay, now go.
No, I think I actually am connecting it to that. It's made interesting by the fact that 3 of the teams that historically would be jockeying for those positions were not, in Chelsea, Newcastle, and Spurs. So that opened the door for some new blood to come in, and they took the spots in the Europa League. And also Villa in the Champions League is an incredible story. Villa hasn't been in the Champions League in forever. And
we were in 2 years. They weren't in it 2 years
Europa
ago.
League manager now.
No,
right?
Unai last year ended with that the last minute red card thing that got flipped on them, so then Chelsea got in the slot. No. Villa has not been in the Champions League.
I thought they were in 2 years. Okay, I thought they were in it 2 years ago. When I thought that year they were in it. Am I wrong?
I'm double checking.
I thought they were in it, and then they dropped out, and then they came back.
You are absolutely right.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they played in the 04 or 05, and then prior to that, it was 82, 83. Okay, you're absolutely right. Okay, cool. So prior to that, it was the early 80s, but I forgot they were. Why did I forget they were?
Yeah, they ran it 2 years ago. They did not play well, but I remember
still very impressive that now it's twice in the last 50 years. Great. But no, I think if we're talking objectively, again, I think one of the bigger stories of this was Chelsea losing 10 of their last 14 competitive matches. And I think at the end of the day, because I think we have to cover for a second, Mike, how you're feeling, and I'll do the same for Liverpool if we must. But I mean, it was where are you at now with a week or so of a couple weeks back reflecting on how this all netted out?
taking out the manager, because we're going to talk about that in a bit. So like just removing
Correct.
that out of this and
Yes.
just talking about reflecting on the season. I think it's all summed up by Sam, what I said to you on the phone a few days ago, which is for the third month in a row, Chelsea puts up their goal of the month Instagram, and there are 3 goals to choose from. And, you're talking about a team, they used to have 10. They used to have 10, and now they for 3 months, they have, like, less than 5. And I think you're talking about a team, to Michael's point earlier that we talked about a month ago, that whose XG was up until April, first in the league, like the most offensive threatening team of any team in the league, literally just died. I mean, literally just died. And to be a fan of that team for 3 months was awful. I mean, there's nothing to cheer about.
Yeah.
That being said, we look up to next year. So I guess there's not having European football next year sucks, because there's nothing to watch in the midweek. Even if it was Conference League, at least you get to watch your boys play. I didn't get to watch my boys play. Now there are upsides, like they rest, and I think like could they do what United did this year? That I think is what is most hopeful, is that gives them the chance to rebuild. I feel optimistic. But it was tough. It was a very dark end of the year, and something that I'm excited the World Cup's coming up, because I have something to look forward to that's different, but still fun.
Cool.
So that's what I'd say.
Michael, does that give you enough of his pain? So can we move on?
I don't need any of his pain, but I do want to talk about one thing that I think is an interesting through line that we talked about all season, is that we had this theory, if you will, that the Premier League is the best league in the world, and in a lot of ways, I think we were proven wrong, and in a lot of ways, I think we were proven right this season. I think that in every single European championship, there was a Premier League side in it. And I think 3 out of the 4 other than the Champions League we won. There are more teams in Europe, in England, than in any other league in the world. And I think what we were thinking is that it's the top end talent in the Premier League that is the best in the world. But what I think it is the mean. I think it is just that there are so many top teams, down to, your Sunderland, your Brightons, even your Brentfords, that are like really, really competitive, and likely if they were to move to a different league, could be pushing for the title. So I just thought it was really interesting how that all kind of shook out towards the end of the season, that I think we were sort of right, but maybe the way we were looking at it was wrong. I wanted to get your guys' maybe take on that.
I think that's totally fair. I think it's a really solid point. It's something we lightly touched on. I think we talked about one point, but I think that's it's very well said. I think it's exactly how it should be put.
With the exception of they wouldn't be competing for the title in the other leagues.
Depending on the league. I mean, if it was in the Turkish league.
I mean, right.
We're talking about the other. We're talking about the other Big Five.
No,
so I think I agree with everything.
Maybe Italy.
But
Maybe Italy.
Maybe
Sorry,
Italy.
Sam.
Yeah.
No. I just I agree. Except for that part, because I think what we're saying is that teams 4 through 15 in the Prem are just miles away from teams 4 through 15 in the other leagues. And I think that we can all agree on. But I think what we've also established is that the top to top is actually relatively more even, especially now. Here's what I will say. Because, as the Prem fan, as we've discussed, you've got to just go down your list of arguments to retain Prem superiority.
Yes.
Sure.
Always.
Part of this is that they are playing, the top to top games are 1-offs or 2-offs.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just playing kind of like playoff style. And let's add too that some of these other leagues' top teams, like a PSG, don't play their other league games before they play their other games.
Not even that. The league will move things around for PSG to make sure that they are well rested.
To the viewer, they literally move their games. They literally will. It's like a coup. The country's a coup for the Champions League.
Yes, they move their leagues around to do this. So, and they're the back-to-back defending Champions League title winners, and so nobody gives a fuck. So but the thing is, I would say if you drop, here's where I'm now at in the arguments, because we can't just say Prem superiority. If you were to drop PSG or Real Madrid or Barcelona into the Premier League for a full 38 match season, I guarantee you they would not come close to winning the league. They just wouldn't. There's just no shot. It is such a fucking grueling grinder to get through. And I'm sorry, but just Real Madrid, playing Levante or
right.
God, we need Spence on to do his like Spanish accents.
Eh,
But it's just not the same as going to play Leeds in January. It's just like so. So
No.
I think you drop the teams and they don't. That being said, let's go from the top to the bottom of the
Yes.
bottom, because
So-
this did live up to every little ounce of juice we could have possibly wanted it to have.
So to set that up, each of us are gonna do one line for each team, 1 to 20, just one short line of each team, 1 to 20.
Should we
And
go up to down or down to up?
We're going top to bottom as we already discussed pre-show.
Okay.
And then we're gonna start with Michael, so you can say
I'm
Arsenal.
establishing for the fan, Mike.
And then
okay?
we
Right,
will
establish
go.
the rules for the viewer. Yes.
Yes,
right. I'm
yes,
establishing
yes.
the rules for the viewer, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Sam, you can go second. I'll go third. Let's just rip it in that order. Sam, do you have it pulled up? Do you have the order pulled up? Can you, or do you want me to pull it up? Okay, so we're gonna start. We already know who's number 1. Miguel.
All right,
let's rip through this. So everybody have a table.
Can we do just a quick line? That's it, right? Not one word.
I thought you just established the rules for the viewer, and now you're asking us to establish
It will all work
rules for you.
out. That is Arsenal's tagline. It'll all work out. Man City.
No. Oh my
what,
God,
dude! What are you doing?
Are you serious?
What?
Every
We
person
are
takes a different team.
Oh, okay.
And not each of us is going to do 20.
We established these rules 3 different times.
Okay.
But you know what? As a result, let's do this again clean. So Michael, start us at the top.
Number one.
Okay. It'll all work out.
Love it. Beautiful.
Well done.
Well done. Okay. Number 2.
City.
Sam.
End of an era.
Ooh, I like it. All right, I'm taking United, and I will say Bruno.
That works.
He's a fucking man. All right.
Yeah, he got the record, by the way. We should talk about that.
He did. Bruno Fernandes broke the record for most Premier League assists with 21, breaking Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. And that is and it must be said with the asterisk that he did that out of his favorite position, playing for Amram in the first half of the season, which means he still did that. It's
absurd. It's absurd. It really
is.
is.
It's up there in one of the best Premier League seasons of all time. And I don't care that they didn't come close to winning the title. They improved like 35 points year over year.
And
they got so much better.
And one thing I want to add, and maybe a question to you, is if they're playing European football and he's playing two times as much, or however much, is that take a toll on him that he isn't performing at that level? Like, I guess that's something that's that kind of interesting.
Not playing. You're gonna feel this next year. Not playing European matches midweek for a top club is a huge fucking advantage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's what we're just saying about the PSG stuff. It's like you are also now gonna not play games up until your big game, which will be Premier League games. Yeah, Arsenal played 63 matches or some shit, right? It's like insane.
It was like 65 or something.
You guys are gonna play 38 plus cup. All right, that was a long one sentence for United.
Right.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's all good. It was worth it.
Villa,
fourth.
Unai Emery, Europa League, Pep Guardiola, because he's dominant.
Oh, I see. He is
he is the Europa League.
You can actually do a complete sentence. You don't have to do fractions.
No, I prefer choppy. Choppy sentences.
Yeah,
thanks.
We'll let you have that. Sam. Oh, Sam. Sorry, I didn't know you ended up on Liverpool.
Pass.
Okay. I get Bournemouth. Is Bournemouth at 6? Yeah.
Well, no,
that's
6.
Right.
No, my sentence is pass.
Your sentence is pass.
That's fine.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
6. I take Bournemouth. I'm going to take. Most dominant mid-table team in a while. I mean, just like crazy how how good they were, and the roller coaster. Anyway, sorry. One sentence. That's hard. I now realize.
Run on, but maybe with a dash before the and. You get away with it.
Yeah.
Sunderland.
Okay.
Sunderland. Big giant waking up. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Nice.
Ooh. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Totally.
So, now Brighton.
We might not care, but they'll take the money and sign 3 amazing players.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. Who do I have at 9? Everton?
Brentford.
God, Brentford finished above Chelsea too. Jesus Christ. Okay.
That's the sentence. That's the sentence. All right, Chelsea.
Yeah.
All right,
100%.
Chelsea.
Michael, you get Chelsea.
Okay, can I
Actually, perfect.
gloves off? Can I go gloves off?
You can go gloves off.
For one
like-
sentence.
Okay. I shit myself. That's the sentence. I shit myself.
That's a bigger problem, but okay. I don't blame you.
Implying they shit themselves, or you
Yes.
shit yourself out of excitement for how much you enjoyed their
that was the
season.
summary of the season. Is like, I shit myself. Like that was that was the season. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I got nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Fulham. I'll say Fulham is, the days may change, the seasons may come and go, and Fulham will sit comfortably mid-table.
At 11th. Yeah, that feels right.
Fulham. They are Fulham. Does that bring me to Everton then?
Newcastle.
Everton really never. Everton just kept dropping. Newcastle. What are we doing here, guys? With all that money and no points, what are we doing?
Yeah. True. Sorry, Will.
Everton. Best season in the last half decade. Finished 13th.
Yeah. Prem.
Hashtag football.
Yeah.
Hashtag football.
Unfortunately very true. That's well done. Leeds. Good to have them back. Good to have them staying up.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel good
Okay.
with that. Yeah.
That
You
brings
feel good about
me.
Yeah. I feel good
Leeds.
with that. Yeah.
Sure. Don't wear your
Palace.
colors. Palace. FA Cup was the pinnacle of it all last year, and it's
Yep.
in the Europa League though because they won Conference League.
Yeah, I think Palace is. Yeah, it's how. I mean, it's how quickly things can fall when you're that. I mean, from that, now manager gone, captain gone, best player gone, and now with manager gone, probably substantially more gone along the way.
Yes.
So, Forest, Mikey.
Okay. And again, this is from the perspective of Forest. Okay. So that's where my
you're
senses are coming
switching.
from.
Got it. You
That's
are.
why
You're a method
I'm
actor.
embodying. Yes, exactly. Okay. So Nottingham Forest is, despite our best efforts, we weren't the worst.
Yes.
Mm.
Nice. That's good.
Clever.
Yeah. Despite 4 managers.
Five managers, it being run like an oil state.
At the end of the day, say what you will about the appointment of Wolves fired and Olympiacos Greek mafia friend hiring Vitor Pereira. He won 5 of their last 9 matches.
Oh,
and
yeah,
drew
he
2.
kept them
He went
up.
5-2-2 in their last 9 matches.
3
kept
words:
him up.
Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah, he was.
He was on
stud.
fire during that time.
He was insane.
Spurs.
We didn't. By the way, we didn't actually talk
Can we
about.
all do one for Spurs?
We skipped the relegation battle, so I think we didn't talk about it. So I think we.
But yeah, we're good. I thought you
can
were
use
going
that for now.
So
No.
let's do Spurs. Let's keep doing the one sentence, then we'll pause the relegation. So Spurs. This might be a hot take, but in the end, I'm glad it worked out this way. Genuinely.
Is that you talking as Spurs? Because or you talking?
No,
as
that's
you?
me talking as a Premier League fan. I think
Okay.
in the end, most Premier League fans outside of Arsenal fans, obviously, and I think Chelsea fans who just like also wanted somebody else's pain to overtake their own. Like, this was absolutely fucking hilarious. I think you still want Spurs in the Premier League. You just do.
Well, it's 4 points every year, So
Only 4.
Or
Only
6.
only
It's
4 points. Interesting.
6
Yeah,
points
interesting.
every year.
One
6
win
points
and
every year.
one draw.
Only 4. Okay, yeah.
It's only
All right,
6
one win
points
and
every
one
year.
Michael, Mike, you're West Ham United.
Yeah, West Ham. West Ham. No.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Miss some.
Yeah, it was time. We this was a call we had early. It was time.
The bubble popped.
Yeah, it did.
The bubble popped.
So Burnley, is it okay to open my eyes now? It's just sort of a rough, brutal season, and now it's over. So
Yeah, and they'll go down to the championship and probably win, and they'll probably score 100 plus points and come back up.
And then they'll be right back up. Exactly.
And then I'll end on Wolves. which I'll say, I don't know when we're going to see again. That's my honest gut. I think this is a precipitous. I think they're gone for a while.
Yeah.
I think I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. They feel like a championship team, like
They're gone for a while.
And I think this is sort of the perfect transition into the relegation conversation as well, because it took, much like West Ham and Wolves, there was a couple seasons of them finishing towards the bottom and almost scraping through, and then eventually the bottom fell out and they absolutely dropped off the face of the earth. The question I'd like to pose is, do we see that happening to a Tottenham or a Nottingham Forest, or do we see the reverse happening, them regaining form and finishing higher in the table next year?
I think.
Yeah, I'll go first. Because Spurs are easy. Because Spurs have the manager now. Spurs will finish top table. I think Spurs will actually be in Europe next year.
Wow,
would be my guess.
I love that call. Let's bookmark that.
I think Spurs will be in Europe next year. They'll get the benefit of not having the games. He'll be able to train with his team midweek. They have a lot of talented players. He'll be able to add some more. Spurs will be top half, and I think Spurs
as they should. Like if they don't do it next year, like let them die. Like I don't know what else are you doing? They can't 2 years in a row, which to the point what they finished.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. Points. I think that exactly. That's the thing. They finished with more points this year than last year.
This wasn't like United. Like look what United did. Like. And then you look at what Spurs did, and you're just like
Spurs over the last 16 years, historical table positions: 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 4, 8, 5, 17, 17.
I mean, that's just like a absolute like what in the world is going on?
It's crazy, but like look at West Ham. Like West Ham was fairly, wasn't that fairly similar? Like they won.
Well, West Ham was like upper mid table for a while.
Right, and they won the Europa League with Declan Rice, and then they sold Declan.
6, 7, 14, 9, 14, 18.
So not quite as dramatic.
A little more up and down. I mean, but still,
I think the better question is Forest, but at the same time, like Forest is coming off of who did they beat? So they went to the Europa League semis. That's why they lost to Villa. I think. Well, this is what I'll say for the relegation battle. It ended up being what we could have wanted, because at the end of the day, there was realistically about 3 teams that were potentially relegated up until the last 3 weeks of the season, then 2 teams up until the death, which was awesome, because it gave us a chance to watch West Ham matches in care and Spurs matches in care. I think it was incredibly entertaining. I remember like 3 weeks ago, I went to a pub on a Friday and just watched a West Ham match. Just and they won like 4-0. I forget who they played. They won like 4-0 and like really put the pressure on Spurs. Yeah, it was good. I think that, I don't know. I think Spurs top, upper mid table, Forest mid. For me, the biggest question of all of this is the one we haven't talked on yet, which is, does West Ham come back up? Because lost in the midst of the comparison to Spurs, West Ham is also, and I think Michael, this is kind of what you're going with, West Ham is also a massive club. They play at the fucking London Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
So that to me is the biggest question. I think Burnley bounces back up. They've shown they can do that. I think Wolves are gone for a while. West Ham is the wild card. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, they have the financial backing to be able to do it, but they're not a team that's used to being in that position. There's also going to be a mass exodus of Jared Bowen
gone, Fernandez
gone, like all the players that have sort of been like they've been there for a long time, and will likely leave, and it'll be a new look West Ham,
which isn't that big of a deal if you have money, because if you have money and you're smart, then you can sign young players. Like,
but if you're right,
Next question. So like if you look at this team in comparison to like a Sunderland or a Leeds, like these other blue blood programs that have fallen off and have come back, is West Ham in a similar, would you say, is a similar size and pedigree, so that we can look at maybe at those as an idea, or are they even bigger than
it's
that?
It's similar. It's similar.
Definitely.
And that's why it's a great point, because like that, I'm sure when Leeds and Sunderland first went down, everyone was like thinking the same thing. Like, surely they'll get back up. They're a big club, but they both stayed down for a while, and they've stayed down for a while because it's a different business model required to win a to place in the championship.
And frankly, the championship is brutal. I mean, I sent you guys, I think, like an Instagram a week ago or something like that. There are so many like heated rivalries in the championship for next season. Like, it is not going to be easy to get up.
No.
These players are absolutely grinding their faces off. Like, it is it is no guarantee. And you look at Spurs. Spurs spent more money than Arsenal did over the last, I believe it was like 5 transfer windows, and we're in a relegation fight. So spending a ton of money is no guarantee that you're going to have success. It's spending that money wisely, and like, can West Ham do that? And
I would like to, if I can, pivot this to actually the stories of next year. And I think it makes sense because if you're talking about what is the thing that maybe determines your fate more than anything, it seems to be the manager seems to be such a massive, massive, massive part of that. And I think so many of the storylines this year and next year, literally for any of the clubs that are, big clubs and clubs that are relevant, all come down to who is the manager, what's changed, who's come in, who's left. Because I mean, if you look at almost all the big clubs, it's a huge part of the storyline.
I agree, and let's get into manager first. We won't cover the next one, but the other, we'd be remiss to not say it is manager plus injuries and health.
Tottenham really got rocked by that.
Tottenham got rocked by that. Chelsea got rocked by that. Liverpool got rocked by that. There was no coincidence that Arsenal's dip came when their 2 best fullbacks were out. Like, manager and injuries. But let's focus on manager because that's more interesting.
Yes, I agree.
There's a ton of changes.
So, yes, we want to talk. Do you want to go? Okay, so let's talk. Like, first and foremost, I think we have to talk about City because the end of an era, Pep is gone. Which I actually feel like hasn't gotten as much coverage as I might have thought they would have at this point in time. It's actually been a little quieter. Maresca which is funny if we look back at when Maresca got ousted as Chelsea manager at the end of last year, it was actually exactly what everyone said was going to happen, which makes you question who's
Wait, is he confirmed
here.
as at
Oh,
City?
yeah.
I missed that.
Exactly. There's not a much. It's very quiet. Maresca is officially the coach. So looking at City, like, most of the same team will probably be there. I'm sure they'll lose a few players. Seems like that's some talk, but it seems like they're going to be relatively the same, but with Maresca just coming in. So, like, what is going to happen? I mean, is that it for Pep? And is that does City fall apart from here? Do they stay relevant? I don't know.
I mean, I guess there's a couple different directions we could take this conversation in terms of Pep leaving. Like, looking back at Pep, one of the greatest managers in the history of the Premier League, without question. He's leaving under, there's a lot of rumblings that the, 115 is finally going to be announced. I think, like, any day or week here has sort of been like what the rumblings are. Like, does that have a factor to do with it? What is Maresca going to look like in charge of Man City? Are they still going to be the same dominant force that they've been for the past decade? Like, there's a lot in flux right now for that team. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is, how good is Maresca as a manager? Is he on it? Like, he's not Pep. Pep is one of the best ever of all time.
Yeah, I
right?
think I think the answer
where
is
does he fall?
the answer is he's pretty good.
I think so too.
and I think so everybody knew that except for Chelsea's brass and some of Chelsea's fans.
I think yes. But I think we now see,
that was a
like,
horrible fire. That was a horrible fire.
Agreed. But what I'm saying to you is all of those rumblings where they fired him, it's like, oh, he's going to go be City's coach. I just wonder what was going on. Like,
that's true.
Guardiola, I think there was.
That's actually a great point. It might have just been one of those things where, like, it's like the relationship is in
he's
strife.
Gonna go. Yeah, he's going to go
what
there.
The girlfriend doesn't know is that the guy's already got lined up like a perfect 10 model who's interested in him, and they start to fight, and he just goes, "All right, fuck it, I'm gone." Like,
I think that's what happened
because
he left.
A perfect 10 model with a criminal record, but still a perfect 10 model,
Well, that's how you're able to get a perfect 10 model later in life. There's going to have something.
There's going to be some concessions somewhere.
You don't just get handed Erling Haaland, Antoine Semenyo, Marmouche, Cherki. Like, you don't just get handed that without some string.
Right.
But that's the point. That's the point. Who's pulling what strings?
Yeah. Pep leaving is story one, end of an era. Interestingly enough, it is not covered at all, which is
at all.
There's something else going on. I think it might be the financial charges are coming down soon, maybe.
Let's move to number 2.
Number 2
is Liverpool. Let's go down. I think we go to Liverpool.
No, I think we go in order of storylines. The number 2 storyline is that the person considered the best manager on the market, Liverpool decided not to take. And then as a result, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Chelsea ends up with the guy that over the past 2 years has been considered the top up and coming manager on the market. So I think storyline number 2 is actually Xabi Alonso, because it is a fascinating story that Liverpool now passed on him. Chelsea gets him. Liverpool then fires Slot and signs Areola.
It's
But
also
like,
really good.
yeah, good manager, but like everything just made too much sense. It's kind of a little bit like smartest guys in the
what's
room
happening?
type thing. Like what's actually happening. But I think the number 2 story is that after all of this, I think the number two story is that his light at the end of the tunnel. Chelsea comes out of this with the best new manager, the best
Can I
manager
ask,
available.
let me ask a question on that, which is could, and you guys tell me, could this be, though, if you go back a year, when they picked up Amarim, it was when United picked up Amarim, it was one of the hottest coaches, plays that sort of similar style that they're thinking maybe. Is there a possibility of that? Could this, because also like look at Chelsea's managerial track record. They have hired so many of the best coaches who have not worked out. Why could this be? I'm not saying it won't be different. I'm asking, could it be another chapter in the Chelsea saga?
Oh, well, of course it could, but I don't think it will. I think it's ultimately, Amarim was coming from
Not
Portugal.
that you wouldn't want it to be, Michael.
Well, that's my personal feelings are to the side. Okay.
Yeah, this is an objective podcast.
This is an objective podcast. Come on, Sam, we're journalists. But Amarim was coming from Portugal, dominated in Portugal, and then came directly to Man United. Xabi Alonso set records in Germany with Bayern Leverkusen, who is not like notoriously a power. They went undefeated for a season and just absolutely tore up Europe for like an entire year, which is crazy. And then, but it was built around a system that Xavi had in place. And then because of that success, Xavi was then given the Real Madrid job, which from the go didn't feel like the right fit for either side, but speaks to how highly regarded Xabi Alonso was considered the entire time. And then it didn't work out because, of course, it wasn't going to work out because he's not a Galacticos manager. He is a system manager. And then now Chelsea, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be looking at this from the lens of, okay, maybe Chelsea are changing their tune into the way they're looking at managers.
Feels that way.
And they're going to instill a system and they're going to give him time. And if they do that, I think Xabi Alonso will be competing for Champions League and Premier League within the next 3 years.
Yeah, there's a big difference. I agree with all of that. I think that's well said. And I think the add-on the difference why it's different with Xabi Alonso, especially for Chelsea, and what it seems like with the Chelsea players, it seems like part of the reason that it didn't work for Liam, and part of the reason why it might not have worked for Maresca, but definitely for Liam, was that the players just didn't respect him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Xabi Alonso played 5 years at Liverpool, won a Champions League final with them. Played 5 years at Real Madrid, won La Liga, 2 Copas, and the Champions League. And then played 3 years at Bayern Munich and won 3 consecutive Bundesliga titles.
With Pep, right? Pep was part of that during Pep years.
Pep.
Yeah.
He was Ancelotti and Mourinho for Real Madrid. He can go into the Chelsea locker room, take his blank out, so you don't have to cut this, and all of those Chelsea, no offense, prima donna characters, which is kind of the Chelsea team, are going to listen to that and be like, okay, you're right. So the difference is that he is going to automatically earn that credibility. I think it's a slam dunk hire for Chelsea, and I think
I agree.
So it's but you're saying as a Chelsea fan, could it not work? Yes, of course it could not work.
No, I'm just I'm asking more of like, are there flavors that say this is similar? This has happened before, or is this me?
I think both of us are both me and Michael are saying, and it is different. It feels different. This is the manager that they really wanted and kind of surprisingly
to give the ownership and sporting directors any credit ever for some. They gave him the manager title. There's been a lot of, we're going to go get some experience. Apparently they were actually giving him some room. They've kind of tailed between the legs. Finally, they've realized that. So Who knows? But I think there's this feeling of
Who
this could be a change.
knows?
This could be, who knows? This could be a changing
Yeah.
of the guard.
Agreed.
So
So then let's put the bow on the 3, because then the third has to be Liverpool.
right.
But I think it's in that order, because it's Pep first, then it's Xabi Alonso second, then it's Liverpool
But these are
manager third.
directly related because of the way those things played out. So to your point, this is like
Totally.
exactly
But the
downstream
Liverpool
to that.
story, the primary, like the topic sentence of the Liverpool story is the incredibleness of firing a manager who won the league the year before.
Yeah.
And it's like a case study of like just how much has to go wrong at a club like Liverpool
Mhm.
to fire the manager a year removed from a title. And the answer is what happened. Like what happened is what has to go wrong. You have to drop 24 points year over year after signing $450 million worth of players. You have to have a system that on the surface just looks incredibly easy to play through and can't score. System issues across the board, terrible losses, and then it ended. And this is the cool thing about Liverpool, is the fans' voice counts. And as soon as the fans started booing, they booed twice. As soon as the fans started booing, I had to think that Slot was gone. At first, it looked like the leadership was like going to commit to him, but then as soon as you lose the fans of Liverpool, he's got to be gone. So on the one hand, massively exciting to have a new manager, because as I think both of you guys would admit, and I know as Michael was secretly hoping for, if Slot was the manager of Liverpool next year, they are not a threat to win the title. Now, with a new manager, they become a wild card. But a wild card is a threat, because now you look at the team on paper, you're like, holy fuck, that team has a lot of talent. Maybe you're really figure it out. So that's plus for Liverpool. Minus for Liverpool is that unless they know something we all don't know, I just don't know why you don't sign Xabi Alonso as the manager. Because also, by the way, he managed Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong.
Yeah, right.
He made Florian Wirtz the best player in the world. And now Florian Wirtz sucks. So it's like, wouldn't you bring the guy who made him good? And
it made too much sense.
But it made too much sense. So on the one hand, I'm like if this was today and Slot was still the manager, I genuinely probably wouldn't have been able to get myself to do this podcast, because it was like, Xabi Alonso made too much sense, and then you're sticking with Slot. So at least they changed Slot. But it is one of those things that just,
which makes me think, like, I don't think this was the plan. Like, I think this plan sort of changed in the last couple games of the season, because otherwise, why would they ever have let Chelsea get Xabi Alonso?
I also curious if Chelsea also, I don't know, but also like, what did Chelsea probably saw like red and just fucking sprinted towards it, and they're like, give him whatever he wants, give him all, because
for sure.
you're
But I
never
mean, look
going
what
to come
happened with
across that
Maresca,
again.
right? Maresca, there were rumblings under the surface that he was going to get the City job. He disrupts himself in Chelsea. Chelsea gets prideful, kicks him out, and then months and months later, he's connected to Chelsea. There's back channel conversations happening all the time. You have to think, if this was planned, Liverpool would be like, "Hey, Xavi, wait a couple more weeks, and then he would have taken that job."
Yeah.
well, no, I think exactly. No, what this confirms without a doubt is that Liverpool decided that they didn't want Xabi Alonso to be the next manager. That didn't change in the last. It's not like they changed their mind in the last 2-3 matches. Like, I think they, like, it's not like, okay, historically Liverpool, Chelsea on an even playing field for sure. It's not like going to Chelsea is a bad move, but as a manager, the opportunity to go to a club like Liverpool, where you are pretty much trusted to have security if you go there,
So
for
former
example, you also
player. I mean,
a former player, all this kind of stuff like that. I think my gut, and it's a difficult one, but just to wrap this, my gut is what it means is that Liverpool, which is a heavy analytically driven front office, for better or worse, better in that they signed Mo Salah because his analytics look like it, even though Klopp didn't want him, and worse because sometimes they have that smartest man in the room syndrome. They looked at Areola's playing style and said, this is what we want to play. And they looked at Xabi Alonso's playing style and they said, we're not sure about this. And they chose Areola.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I guess I would just, again, to your point about Frimpong and Wirtz, kind of an odd thought, but it is
But
what
you
it
know
is.
but you know what's funny about that? And now my actual last point. They don't want to play the style he played at Bayern, at Leverkusen. What Liverpool style, what they have heard, and this is, I think, maybe hopefully giving them the credit, what they have heard from the entire fan base, what they have seen is that If you're Liverpool, and this is the double-edged sword of Klopp. Liverpool fans want to see Klopp-style football. And so what I think this is actually saying is this is the Liverpool brass, I think smartly saying, you know what? Yeah, we signed Florian Wirtz. I'm not going to build my team around him. I just don't know. I just don't know. But what I am going to build my team around is fast, pacey wingers like Luis Diaz style that I think they're going to sign. This is them saying, I'm actually gambling against the Florian Wirtz. I'm not putting good money after bad. Like I'm not willing to build around this guy because I frankly haven't seen enough, and that I agree with.
Interesting. And, I wonder to that point, if you actually look at Chelsea and look at some of the players they have, like a Cole Palmer in that tent, like I think they have shown that some of their best players do fit him extremely well. And what
Chelsea's
they'll do
not
is
going to be that fast, like Gegenpress style. Like I think it could end up being good for both parties.
Yeah, it could be. And honestly, wouldn't that be fun for all of us if we all had teams that
There's
played
a three-way Premier League race.
Well, that was the
next year.
dream going into this year.
Yeah, I know.
Which is part of the reason why it was tough. But that's the beauty, because it was the inverse the year before. So this is the sport. So all right, let's
just to summarize Liverpool, I do think Ariel was a great signing. I think
Ariel is a good. He's a good coach.
Awesome. I think
look at
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Made a great choice.
Scary. Bournemouth was scary
Bournemouth
this year.
were like the best
they beat
team in the
everybody.
league.
They beat all
They were the
of
best
us.
team in the league at the end of
year.
the season. They were absurd.
I know.
And he knows the Premier League.
Right.
So let's nip this. Let's call it a show. I think end on one sentence about the World Cup that we're looking forward to. Maybe we'll do one, but just like is there any one thing that I can start, because I already have something in mind. I am pumped to watch Portugal. I think Portugal is going to be fucking awesome and is not getting enough love.
Love that.
Yes.
I will say I'm just in general pumped to watch football where it doesn't feel like it's life or death stakes for me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm excited to just be able to watch football and enjoy some good football just for the love of the sport without having like all these strings attached. So
agreed.
Yes, I will say two things. One, I can't believe I just looked at the calendar. It's 6-4. I can't believe that in 9 days I'm going to my first ever World Cup match.
It's crazy.
Brazil, someone, right?
Brazil, Morocco.
So
and then
sick as fuck.
So sick.
And then 9 days after that, England, Ghana.
You're going England, Ghana?
Yes. In the last minute, our buddy, my buddy who was, I met him through one of Lindy's friends and we became buddies. He's a Ghanaian prince and he secured some tickets. And so Lindy and I are going up to Boston, sitting in the Ghanaian fan section and watching England, Ghana.
That's crazy.
Epic is that?
That's fucking crazy.
On the wow.
Yeah, epic. It's in Boston. So that selfishly very excited for both those. Macro, I am incredibly excited because we believe. We believe that we will win. We will believe that we will win. We believe that we will win. Because at the end of the day, as lame as that chant just was between us, that's kind of the vibe for U.S. men's national team heading into the tournament. But I will say the tournament structure has set this up as good as they possibly can. The group is shit. Oh, and by the way, I missed this. There's now 32 teams that qualify for the knockout round.
Yeah.
You don't have to finish 1 and 2. You finish 1 and 2 or 8 of the best third place teams. So the U.S. is pretty much guaranteed to go knockout round, which is sweet. And I think they have a good enough team to win their first knockout round since 2002.
He said it.
So I actually, and watching the highlights of, I'm going to try to watch the Germany
Senegal.
Watch the highlights of Senegal. Like they play fast.
They have good play. They played fast.
They play fast.
They have good play. They have good players.
They have some fun players.
They do.
And they got a good manager. So let's, let's start the slow crawl of U.S. fan excitement.
Let's get a little optimism going. I'm ready to get hurt again.
And then they'll draw against Paraguay. It'll be like,
right. The fuck? Why is it always Paraguay?
Always
Paraguay.
They have our number. All right, boys. This was lovely. It was great to see you guys. To you Premericans out there, go enjoy your summers, watch a little World Cup, and we will see you in the fall.